Miles is here to stay. We've got a rundown on the events leading up to the decision to keep the Mad Hatter.
And we talked to fraternity brothers of a student who died from a cocaine overdose. Today is
World AIDS Day. Find out how the Baton Rouge community is raising awareness.
Stay tuned. Newsbeat starts now.
Good evening, Tigers, and welcome to Newsbeat. I'm Mitch Rambolet.
And I'm Michaela Morgan. Thanks for joining us. LSU's Sigma Chi fraternity is getting attention from two drug-related events within the past 2 months. The chapter is currently placed on suspension since November 3rd for allegations of hazing and drug use at the fraternity house. And a fraternity member named Sawyer Reed died on October 17th from an accidental overdose at his off-campus apartment, according to the Baton Rouge police report. Investigators found drugs, syringes, scales, and other paraphernalia in his room. Tiger TV sat down with Sigma Chi fraternity member Jordan Bevan, who says the suspension is unrelated to his friend's death.
I really don't think that it'd be in Sawyer's nature and his personality to be selling anything. And quite frankly, I don't know how much he did.
Reed's toxicology results from the coroner's office is still pending. Check for more updates on tigertv.tv.
With all the controversy this weekend around the Mad Hatter, Cameron Stelly takes us what could have been Coach Les Miles' last game on Saturday with the Tigers in Death Valley.
The 2 weeks of chaos surrounding LSU's head coach Les Miles potentially losing his job has come to an end.
I want to make it very clear and positive that Les Miles is our football coach, and he will continue to be our football coach.
Following 3 embarrassing losses, Miles appeared unsure about his future at LSU.
I'd love to think that there's another 11 years. I enjoy them so much.
As Coach Miles made his way down Victory Hill on Saturday before the game, surrounded by outpouring love and support from his fans, his future as head coach of LSU was uncertain. Fans held signs and cheered him on as to what appeared to be his final walk down Victory Hill. Because of the uncertainty, many emotions filled the stadium Saturday night, hoping that his 11 years with the Tigers were not coming to an end.
No. King Alexander said, I want you to be our coach, and you are our coach.
However, before the players even found out the decision, they stood behind their coach.
I never thought it was valid to be questioning him as a head coach. Like, I thought it was ridiculous.
I mean, in my opinion, you know, it really never should have been a topic of conversation.
He's a great coach, maybe a better man.
The Tigers got the W over the Aggies, and the decision to keep Les Miles as head coach was made, leaving many confused and wondering why the rumors about losing his job started in the first place and why Athletic Director Joe Oliva did not defend Miles.
I made it very clear that my policy is to wait to the end of the season.
Despite the turmoil that erupted on social media and news sites potentially hurting the LSU athletics reputation, the Mad Hatter celebrated with his players and will return next year to do what he loves.
Miles is expected to return as the head coach for next year, and his contract here at LSU runs until December 31st, 2019.
Even though the coaching fiasco is over, athletes still have a reason to stress. As finals week approaches, preparing for a final exam can be double the stress for these students that have to balance succeeding in both the classroom and athletics. We asked the student athletes here at LSU how they balance their time on and off the field in order to devote enough time toward preparing for their final exams. The added pressure to succeed is nothing new to these athletes. As they prepare for their finals, they know that they always have to remember being a student comes first.
Just trying to squeeze in as much study time as you can before practice, after practice, over the weekend when you have your little off day on Sundays. But especially during dead week, we don't have practice, so that makes things a lot easier to manage your time.
Study services and assistances will be available at the Middleton Library throughout finals week for all students.
New report shows that several $1 million worth of LSU hospital equipment is unaccounted for. Louisiana legislative auditor said that $15 million worth of equipment for the state bought for the University Medical Center wasn't tagged or logged correctly in the state's asset management system. State officials check annually to see if the property is still where it's supposed to be. Officials at the Healthcare Services Division said steps are underway to locate and tag the property. The office was told that some of the equipment went to hospitals and some was stored in containers.
With his win behind him, Governor-elect John Bel Edwards will be meeting with current Louisiana Governor Bobby Jindal to discuss the upcoming transition between administrations. Edwards will be taking office on January 11th. Governor Jindal expressed that he would like to help make the transition as smooth as possible. The two also discussed several issues, including Louisiana's budget and the Syrian refugee crisis. Edwards' transition team has been working out of the offices on the 12th floor of Kirby Smith Hall since he defeated Republican candidate David Vitter. Jindal and Edwards will hold a joint news conference later this evening to recap their discussions.
Today, people around the world are gathering to observe World AIDS Day, a day dedicated to raising awareness about the awful effects of this disease. WorldAIDSDay.org reported that an estimated 35 million people are living with the virus today, and more than 35 million people have died as a result of HIV or AIDS. The city of Baton Rouge still holds one of the highest rates of HIV and AIDS in the country, and has for several years. Baton Rouge ranked second last year in the number of AIDS diagnoses in the country. Several on-campus organizations are sponsoring the Go Red campaign today, and students can receive free HIV testing in Free Speech Alley. Coming up after the break, reporter Cameron Stelly is live at LSU's Holiday Spectacular. She'll have details on what you can expect from tonight's celebration.
We'll be right back. Tonight, LSU will be hosting its Holiday Spectacular. The school will be putting on a number of free holiday events for our students in the LSU community.
Reporter Cameron Stelly is live at the Student Union and tell us a little more about what students can expect out there. Cameron?
We're here at the Union Theater where the Holiday Spectacular events are just beginning. Moments ago, the performances by the Tiger Girls and other clubs on campus began, which will be followed by a Christmas tree lighting, Christmas caroling, and even a late-night breakfast held by LSU's president beginning at 10 p.m. in the dining halls. Well, that's all that I have for now, but back to you guys.
Thanks, Cameron. Parking and Transportation Services will provide free parking in the Union parking garage from 4 to 8 p.m. Over 150 world leaders are having talks in Paris today about an issue that impacts every country. The Conference of Parties is an annual forum dedicated to reducing greenhouse gas emissions worldwide. Officials will be working in groups before coming together to potentially create a legally binding agreement to reduce emissions. Conference organizers say it has taken over 20 years of UN negotiations to reach this attempt at making a legally binding emissions agreement. President Obama was present at the conference and said that this agreement would ensure that every country involved would be able to contribute to the effort.
We seek an agreement that makes sure developing nations have the resources they need to skip the dirty phase of development if they're willing to do their part, and that makes sure the nations most vulnerable to climate change have resources to adapt to the impacts we can no longer avoid.
Analysts predict the best deal that could emerge from the conference would most likely cut emissions by only about half the level needed to avoid the worst effects.
As world leaders gather for climate talks in Paris, problems with air pollution are becoming even more dangerous for millions of people in the People's Republic of China. Residents in northern China are being told to stay indoors after air pollution in Beijing reached dangerous levels. Over 2,000 factories responsible for the pollution have been ordered to halt all activities, and many businesses and schools have chosen to close until air quality reaches a safe level. Most of China's carbon emissions come from burning coal and heat that fuels power plants. The smog is expected to decline on Wednesday when a cold front arrives.
Despite the sales and discounts available this past Black Friday, research shows that many Americans opted to stay home this weekend. One retail study found that Black Friday sales fell from $11.6 billion last year to $10.4 billion this year. The National Retail Federation says they're finding that more Americans are shopping online than in stores this holiday season. The NRF estimated that 102 million people went out to shop in stores on Friday, while over 103 million Americans stayed home and shopped online throughout Thanksgiving weekend. Online sales have jumped by over 14% over the last year, and they're expected to keep climbing. Coming up after the break, we may have a new reason for you to fear hoverboards.
I hope it's not just getting run over. We'll be right back. You may have yet another reason to be concerned about hoverboards. A New Orleans family is shaken but grateful they escaped harm after a toy hoverboard reportedly set their home on fire. Jessica Horn ordered her son a hoverboard for about $300 on Amazon only one day before the fire. The toys run on lithium batteries, and her son reportedly plugged it in to charge moments before the fire.
Well, that's all the time we have for today, but you can stay updated with Tiger TV Newsbeat on tigertv.tv.
Don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Twitter so you can stay informed on all the latest stories and breaking news right here on campus.
Thanks for watching.
Good night, everybody.